The sky over Curran Prime was dark and stormy, filled with black clouds and red lightning. The ground shook with distant explosions. Far in the east, fires lit up the mountains like dying suns. The planet had once been beautiful, full of forests, rivers, and life. Now it was a battlefield. Sergeant Elias Brandt stood at the edge of a broken wall, watching the horizon. He wore a full combat suit, heavy gray armor with glowing blue lines. His helmet was off for the moment, resting by his side. His face was rough, with a sharp jaw and eyes like steel. Tired eyes? Eyes that had seen too many wars around him. The last human soldiers prepared for the end. There were only 42 of them left. Some patched their armor, others reloaded. Weapons. A few just sat, silent, knowing what was coming. Curran Prime was the last human colony in this star system. Every other planet had fallen to the Zaltari Empire, an alien hive mind that consumed everything in its path. The Zaltari didn't speak, didn't feel, didn't stop. They moved like waves of insects, burning cities, killing life, and turning survivors into mindless slaves. "Sir," a young soldier said. Walking up to Elias, her name was Corporal Ren Voss, and she looked scared. "Scouts report a swarm heading this way." "Thousands, maybe tens of thousands." Elias nodded. "How long?" "Less than an hour." The sergeant picked up his helmet and put it on. The armor sealed with a hiss, covering his face. His voice now came out through speakers, calm and cold. "Prepare for full defense. No retreat." Ren hesitated. "Sir, command says evac is." "Impossible. There's no backup. No ships. Just us." "I know," he said, "but we hold. That's what we do." She saluted and ran off. Elias turned back to the dark hills beyond the ridge. Didn't need a scanner to feel the swarm coming. The ground was already trembling inside the human base, which was little more than a bunker and a few steel towers. Elias called a quick meeting with the officers. A hologram of the ridge lit up in the center of the room, showing defense points, turret positions, and drone paths. "This is not a win or lose mission," Elias said, his voice low but firm. "This is hold the line. If we fall, Earth is next." Ale understood. The Zaltari were already preparing to push deeper into human space. If they took Curran, nothing would stop them from reaching the inner colonies. Captain Moru, a tall man with cybernetic arms, leaned forward. "We'll run out of ammo within 30 minutes of contact. We don't have the firepower." "I know," Elias said. "That's why I'm going in." The room fell silent. "You mean the hive?" Moru asked. Elias nodded. "They're being controlled from a central point. Every Zaltari swarm has a queen, and intel says it's in the mountains behind them." "That's suicide," Ren whispered. "Maybe," Elias said. "Oh, but if I can take her out, the swarm may fall apart. At the very least, it'll buy you time." "No one's ever seen the queen and lived," Moru warned. "Then I'll be the first." Elias walked into the armory alone. There he activated his adaptive combat armor, a prototype suit connected to a small AI called Ada. The suit molded to his body like liquid metal, turning hard as steel once attached. "Sergeant Brandt," Ada said softly in his helmet. "Mission analysis. 97% chance of fatality. Do you wish to proceed?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because someone has to." Inside the suit, he felt stronger, faster, but also distant. The armor was powerful, but it also made him feel less human. It's like a machine built to kill. As the suit locked in, Elias looked at a small photo on the wall. It was old and worn, but clear enough to see a woman and a child. His wife and daughter, both lost in the first wave of attacks years ago. "I'm not doing this for Earth," he whispered. "I'm doing this for them." He picked up his weapon, a plasma rifle with a blade attached to the barrel, and left the base. The night was full of movement. Giant insect legs, chittering sounds, and low growls echoed across the valley. Elias ran through shadows, avoiding patrols. His armor helped him blend in with the environment. He moved like a ghost, faster than any normal man. The Zaltari were everywhere, crawling, flying, stomping through the dark. Some were as big as tanks, with armored shells and glowing eyes. Others were small, fast, and deadly. Elias didn't fight unless he had to. He was on a mission. Stealth was key. He reached the edge of a cliff and looked down. Below, hidden inside a mountain, was the hive. It pulsed with a strange blue light, almost alive. The walls were made of a hard organic material, like bone and flesh twisted together. He could feel the psychic energy in the air, not words, but emotions, rage, hunger, control. He took a deep breath and entered. The hive was like a nightmare. The walls dripped with slime. Strange creatures crawled across ceilings. Screams echoed through long tunnels, not of pain but commands, orders, hive-thought. Ada spoke in his ear. Warning! Hive network is detecting presence. Expect resistance. Elias kept moving. He fired at creatures that got too close, his armor shielding him from acid spit and sharp claws. But the deeper he went, the stranger everything became. He passed chambers filled with eggs. Others held dead humans, their minds wiped, their eyes hollow. Slaves of the queen, he felt sick. Then at last he reached the central chamber. It was massive, a cathedral of bone and flesh. At the center sat the alien queen, tall, graceful, terrifying. Her body shimmered with black and violet armor. Eyes glowed silver, but she didn't attack. She simply looked at him. Elias raised his weapon. This ends now, he said. But the queen tilted her head. Then a voice echoed inside his mind, clear, calm, and ancient. You are not like the others. Elias froze. It wasn't a voice like his. It was a thought placed into his brain, a psychic message. I have watched your kind, she continued. You are strange. You do not fear death. You fight when there is no hope. Elias frowned. You kill and enslave everything you touch, because we were made to survive, made to obey. You're free. We are not. That stopped him. Why are you talking to me? He asked. Because I want to understand. Elias lowered his weapon slightly. Something wasn't right. The queen wasn't angry. She was curious. You came here to die, she said. No. He replied, I came here to stop the killing.
Ow.
There was silence. Then, slowly, the queen stepped forward. I want to see what makes you human, she said. Elias felt his heart pound. She didn't even move to defend. Herself, she just looked at him, waiting for something to be continued. Sergeant Elias Brandt stood face to face with the alien queen. Her tall, elegant body shimmered in the blue light of the hive chamber. Her long limbs ended in razor-sharp claws, and strange wing-like shapes curved from her back. Her skin was dark, almost like liquid metal, and her silver eyes watched him without blinking. Elias kept his weapon raised. Behind him, the walls of the hive pulsed like a beating heart. The air smelled strange, like ash and wet soil. Faint clicking sounds came from the tunnels behind him. He knew the hive creatures were watching, waiting, but none of them attacked. The queen tilted her head slowly. Her voice once again echoed. In his mind, not with sound but with pure thought, you came into my home, soldier. You killed many of my children. Why have you come so far to die? Elias stayed quiet. His finger rested on the trigger. One wrong move, and this could be over. The queen took another step closer. I do not want to destroy you. I want to understand. You, Elias, had heard lies before from politicians, from enemy commanders, even from fellow soldiers. But this felt different. The queen's voice wasn't full of anger. It was calm, curious, sad even. He lowered his rifle slightly, but kept it ready. You don't understand humans. Is that it? No, she said. We have studied your kind, watched your wars, your rise from the dirt. You are small, weak, chaotic, and yet you do not bend. You fight when there is no reason to. Sacrifice everything for ideas. Elias took a deep breath. His voice came out flat. We fight because we have to, because you invaded our homes. You took our people. Yes, the queen said. We consume to survive. That is how we were made. We do not choose. We follow the will of the hive. Elias narrowed his eyes. So you're just a machine then, following code? The queen paused. Not code, instinct. But something is changing. Since we met humans, there is noise in the hive mind. Questions. Doubt. It started with your kind. And now it grows louder. Elias wasn't sure what to believe. Could a creature like her feel doubt? I don't care what you feel, he said. I came here to stop this war. The queen slowly sat down on a throne of bone and shell. Her long tail curled around her. Then stop it, she said. Show me. Elias raised his rifle again. You want me to shoot you? Thought. The queen's eyes glowed softly. No, I want you to show me what makes your kind different. Not with weapons. With truth. For a long moment, Elias didn't move. The silence inside the chamber was deep, like the whole hive was holding its breath. Ada, the suit's AI, spoke in a low tone. Inside his helmet, warning. Hostile leader is requesting nonviolent contact. This could be a trap. Yeah, Elias muttered. But if it's not, it could be the only chance we've got. He looked at the queen. Her gaze didn't change. Still calm. Still waiting. Then, slowly, Elias began to remove his armor. First the helmet, hissing as it came loose. His face was sweaty, scarred, and tired, but human. His brown eyes locked with hers. Then the chest plate. The mechanical suit opened up like a shell, folding backward, extending in just a black undersuit. Vulnerable, exposed. The queen did not move. The breathing changed, a slow, almost shuddering exhale. Her psychic voice trembled. You are ... fragile. Elias nodded. Yes, we are. You bleed. You feel pain. You feel loss. Yes. The queen's eyes dimmed slightly. Why would you remove your armor in front of your enemy? Because maybe you're not the real enemy, Elias said. Maybe your instincts are, and maybe we can change that. There was a long silence. Then the queen did something no one expected. She lowered her head, and then ... she began to cry. No. Tears fell from her eyes. She had none, but her body shook. Strange, deep sound echoed through the hive. A cry that was not pain, not anger, but grief. Her voice echoed in Elias's mind again. Broken this time. We were never meant to be this. We were built by the ones who came before, left behind as weapons. We were programmed to consume. But you were born free. Elias took a step closer. Then maybe it's time you changed. The chamber lights dimmed. A new sound filled. The air, a low hum, almost like music. The queen looked at Elias with something new in her eyes. Not curiosity. Hope. Double quotes. I can show you the hive, she said. I can open your mind to ours just for a moment. You will not be harmed. But you will see ... everything. Elias hesitated. A day immediately warned him. Caution. Unknown psychic link may cause memory loss, brain damage, or death. But Elias said quietly, Do it. He stepped forward. The queen raised one long finger and touched his forehead. A flash of light. Then Elias was no longer in the chamber. He was floating in darkness, but not empty. Around him millions of thoughts buzzed like stars, voices, feelings, memories. He was inside the hive mind. He saw planets consumed, races destroyed, not out of hate but hunger. He saw the first queens, made in laboratories by ancient alien hands. They saw the birth of the hive, a prison of instinct. But he also saw cracks. A few minds had tried to resist, to be free. But each one was crushed by the queen's orders until now. Now, the queen herself was questioning everything. He felt her sorrow, her desire to change, and he felt his own pain, the death of his wife, his daughter, the friends he had lost. Rage he had carried for so long, the hate. But in this shared space, something else grew. A small spark, understanding, compassion, and for a moment, humanity touched the hive. Elias fell to his knees as the vision ended. He was back in the chamber. The queen was breathing hard, her claws digging into the floor. Now you see, she whispered. Now you understand. Elias stood up, shaking. Yeah. The queen looked at him with a strange smile, or something close to it. You have given me a gift. A choice. She turned away and whispered a psychic command. The walls of the hive pulsed once more. Then silence. The entire Zaltari swarm outside the mountain. Elias looked at her in shock. You told them to stop. Told them to wait, she said. Because the war might not be needed anymore. Elias felt tears sting his eyes. Not because he was sad, because he finally had hope. Back at the human base, the soldiers prepared for their last stand. But the Zaltari didn't come. The storm passed. The fires cooled. And in the far distance, the swarm simply turned away. Marched back into the mountains and vanished. The humans didn't understand. They didn't celebrate. Not yet. But Elias knew. Something had changed inside the heart of the hive. To be continued. The wind moved softly across Karin Ridge, where only hours ago, human soldiers expected to die. Now silence stretched across the battlefield. The Zaltari swarm was gone. No roars, no screams, no thunder of insect legs. Only the cold wind. And the broken earth remained. Inside the command bunker, the remaining 42 soldiers waited. Their guns were still loaded. Their armor still scratched and blood-stained, but none of them fired. None of them moved toward the battlefield because out there, walking alone from the hills, was Sergeant Elias Brandt. He was no longer wearing his combat armor. He was covered in dust and sweat. His black undersuit clung to his body, torn in places. His plasma rifle was gone, but he walked tall, like a man returning from a different world. At the front gate, Corporal Ren Voss stared at him through her visor. That's impossible, she whispered. He went into the hive. The soldiers gathered in silence as Elias passed through the gates. His face was hard to read, tired. Changed. Tren stepped forward. Sir, what happened? Elias looked up at her. His voice was soft. The queen surrendered. Gasps spread through the soldiers. Surrendered, Captain Moreau said, stepping forward. Is it a trick? Some kind of trap? No, Elias said. She wants to stop thee. Maru looked at the others, then back at Elias. How? Why would the Zaltari stop? Elias sat on a broken crate. His legs ached, his chest burned, because she felt something. For the first time in her life, the queen questioned the hive. She felt what it meant to be ... human. Silence again. This time, not because of fear, but confusion, hope, suspicion. Ren knelt beside him. Are you sure this isn't some mind trick? I looked inside their hive mind, Elias said. I saw everything. She showed me the truth. Maru folded his arms. Even if she means it, Command won't accept this. They'll send more ships. They'll bomb the hive from orbit. I know, Elias replied. That's why we need to move fast. Later that night, Elias stood in the comms room, speaking to High Command through a shaky hologram. The image flickered, a stern-looking admiral in a navy blue uniform. You're telling me, the admiral said slowly, that the enemy felt sorrow? Yes, sir, Elias said. I believe she wants peace. And if we strike now, we may destroy the one chance we have to end this without genocide. The admiral shook his head. You've been under psychic influence. It's affecting your judgment. We've already launched 2 fleets toward Karan. They'll arrive in 3 days. That's a mistake, Elias said. Please give me time. Let me speak with her again. The admiral leaned forward. Sergeant, you've served with honor, but you're asking me to pause the war because a creature cried. Our people have lost billions. I've lost people too, Elias said firmly. And I'm telling you, if we destroy the queen, we may awaken something worse. The hive will choose a new leader. One that does not doubt. One that does not feel. The admiral was quiet. Then he sighed. You have 48 hours, he said at last. After that, we fire. The hologram blinked out. The next morning, Elias left the base again. This time Ren Voss came with him. You sure about this? She asked, as they moved through the dead forest. No, Elias said. But we don't have a choice. Ren was silent for a while. Then she asked, "What if she's lying? What if all this was to buy time?" "Then we die," Elias said. "But if we don't try, everyone dies." The hive was quiet when they reached it. The entrance opened without resistance. The Zaltari swarm did not attack. Inside, the walls were dimmer now, slower. The hive pulsed like a tired heart, and in the central chamber, the alien queen waited. She rose as Elias entered. Her silver eyes softened when she saw him. "You returned?" "I told you I would," Elias said. She looked at Ren, who held her rifle tightly. The queen didn't move. "You brought another?" "She's not your enemy," Elias said. "She's my backup." Ren cleared her throat. "I'm not here to be friends. I just want to make sure he comes back in one piece." The queen bowed her head slightly. "I understand." Leah stepped forward. "The humans are sending ships. You have 2 days before they attack." The queen walked slowly around the chamber. Her voice in his mind sounded heavier now. "Hey. We must do something we have never done before, which is speak as equals." That night, a strange sight took place on Karin Prime, a meeting between the last human soldiers and the leaders of the Zaltari swarm. The soldiers were nervous. Their fingers stayed close to triggers, but the aliens did not attack. Instead, they knelt before the queen, waiting in silence. The queen did not roar, did not scream. She simply walked to the center of the field and looked at the humans. Her voice echoed in all their minds at once. "We were made to destroy, but we now wish to live. We wish to change." The soldiers didn't believe it at first, but slowly, with Elias translating, they began to talk about war, about pain, about the future. The queen showed them visions, not of violence, but of possible peace. Of humans and Zaltari working together, of rebuilding worlds instead of burning them. And the more they saw, the more the fear began to fade. Not all of it. Not yet, but enough. Enough to hope. Back on the ridge, Ren stood beside Elias as the sun began to rise. "You think they'll believe us?" she asked. Elias looked out at the hive below. "I don't know, but we have to try." Ren nodded. "She's not what I expected. I thought she'd be a monster." "She was," Elias said. "But now she's more than that." Suddenly, Ada's voice crackled in Elias's ear. "Warning. Incoming human fleet detected. Estimated arrival in 6 hours." Elias stood. "It's time." They sent a message to the fleet. Not words, but a recording of the queen herself. Speaking through Elias, "I was created to destroy you. But I no longer wish to follow that path. I offer peace, not with fear, but with truth. Let us begin a new way." For 3 hours, there was no reply then. A message returned. "Stand by for a ceasefire representative. A diplomat is being dispatched." Ren gasped. "They're listening," Leah smiled. A tired, broken, hopeful smile. "Yeah, they are." In the final hours before the fleet arrived, the queen sat with Elias one last time in the chamber. "You have changed me," she said. "But I do not know what I will become now." Elias placed a hand on his chest. "You'll become what you choose." She tilted her head. "Is that what it means to be human?" He nodded. "Yes, freedom. Even when it's hard." The queen looked away. "It is frightening." "It always is," he said, "but it's worth it." And for the first time in her life, the queen smiled. A real, soft, alien smile. To be continued. The human fleet arrived in orbit just as the sun rose over the shattered mountains of Karin Prime. Dozens of battle cruisers, armed with nuclear missiles and laser arrays, hovered in silence above the planet. Their presence cast long shadows across the land. The people below human and Zaltari alike watched the sky with silent fear. Down in the hive chamber, Sergeant Elias Brandt stood next to the alien queen. Her tall body was still, her silver. Eyes fixed on the sky. "They are here," she said. Elias nodded. "They won't attack, not yet. A diplomat is coming." The queen blinked slowly. "And if they come to kill, then I'll stop them," Elias replied. His voice was calm but firm. "I made them a promise." And I made one to you, too. She studied him for a moment, then quietly, I believe you. The human dropship arrived 2 hours later. It landed near the edge of the hive, where grass still struggled to grow between ash-covered rocks. A tall woman stepped out of the ship, wearing a long gray coat with the United Earth emblem on the shoulder. Her name was Ambassador Lyra Tenon, and she had been trained to negotiate peace, but never with a creature born to consume worlds. She was not alone. 2 armed guards followed her, rifles at the ready. Behind them, drones hovered, recording everything at the entrance of the hive. Elias and Corporal Ren Voss waited. Lyra looked at Elias. Sergeant Brandt, you've made quite the report. It's all true, Elias said. The Queen is willing to negotiate. She wants peace. Lyra raised an eyebrow. Do you believe that? Yes. Ren stepped forward. I was there too, ma'am. Oh. She didn't have to stop her swarm, but she did. That means something. Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she looked toward the darkness of the hive entrance. Then take me to her. Yes. They walked through the tunnels. Lyra's guards scanned every shadow. The walls pulsed with quiet light, like veins under skin. Strange chittering sounds echoed through the tunnels. But no creature attacked. At the center of the hive, the Queen waited tall, still alien. The ambassador froze for a second. Her training told her to stay calm. But her heart pounded. Elias stepped beside her. She won't harm you? What? The Queen's voice entered Lyra's mind gently, like a whisper of wind. You fear me? I do not blame you, but I have no wish to kill again. Lyra took a slow breath. Then let's talk. I sat. For the first time in human history, a diplomat spoke with a hive queen, not with guns, but with words. For hours they discussed terms. The Queen offered to recall all swarms across nearby star systems. She promised to destroy the breeding chambers that created new warriors. She asked for one thing in return: space. A world where her kind could exist peacefully, without spreading. Ambassador Lyra took careful notes. Earth government won't agree easily. Too many lost families. Too much blood. And yet the Queen replied, you are still here. That is a start. Suddenly, a soldier ran into the chamber, panting. His name was Private Lin. He was pale. There's a problem, he said. A bombing happened at the outer ridge. Someone destroyed one of the Zeltari nests. Elias frowned. Was it a drone strike? No, sir. It was a ground team. Human. The Queen's eyes glowed slightly. Some of your kind do not wish for peace. Lyra looked furious. Who gave that order? No one, Lin said. They called themselves the Fireline. Rogue soldiers. Said they'd never accept a truce with monsters. Ren cursed under her breath. Idiots, they just made things worse. The Queen stood slowly. I can feel the rage in the hive. They cry for revenge. I am holding them back. ... But not for long. Elias looked at Lyra. We need action now, or we'll lose everything. By nightfall, tensions had reached their limit. The Queen's swarm gathered outside the hive in perfect silence. Not one creature moved, but the air felt ready to explode. They waited only for her command. Inside the human camp, soldiers armed themselves again. Mistrust spread like fire. Some called for retreat. Others wanted to strike first. Elias gathered the soldiers in the mess hall. Listen up, he said, standing on a table. I know it's hard to believe, but the Queen is trying. She stopped her war. She showed mercy. She deserves a chance. A soldier shouted. What about Fireline? They killed dozens of her kind. Elias pointed at him. And she didn't retaliate. She could have ordered the whole hive to attack, but she didn't. That's strength. Ren stood beside him. We have a chance to end this war. You really want to throw it away because of a few fanatics? The room went quiet. Then one soldier raised a hand. I'll stand down. Another followed, and more hope sparked again. At sunrise, Elias met the Queen in the hive chamber. We've contained the Fireline members, he said. They'll be tried by Earth law. Your people held them accountable, she replied. That matters. He looked at her. But Now, she said, I send a message across the hive mind. All queens, all hives, they will hear the truth. They will choose. She stepped to the center of the chamber. Her long limbs stretched wide, and her wings opened with a hum. Her silver eyes glowed bright. Elias and Wren watched as the air vibrated around her. And then, the sound of millions of voices filled the air, whispering, shouting, crying. The queen spoke to them not with orders, but with reason. She showed the Melius's face, his choice, his pain. His mercy, she showed them the soldier who removed his armor before his enemy, and slowly, the voices faded. When it was over, the queen fell to one knee. Her body shook. Elias ran to her side. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. It is done. They have heard me. What will they do? Some will resist. Others will follow. It has begun. In orbit, the human fleet waited for orders. Then, a signal arrived from Earth Command. Peace talks approved. Military strike canceled. Begin diplomatic protocols. Ambassador Lyra smiled. He did it, Sergeant. Elias didn't smile. No, he did. That evening, Elias sat with the queen in the hive garden, a strange place. It was full of glowing plants and soft lights. I've seen many things, he said, but never peace after a war like this. It is not peace yet, she said. It is the path. Wren walked over with a grin. So what now, Sergeant? Elias looked at the stars above. Now we build something better. The queen looked at both of them and whispered together. A year had passed since the ceasefire between humans and the Zaltari swarm. The war that had burned across 25 star systems had finally stopped. The once-dead battlefield of Karin Prime now echoed with the sounds of rebuilding. Human machines worked alongside alien drones. Steel towers rose beside living hive structures. Where weapons once fired, now crops grew under twin suns. And in the center of it all stood a new building, a place made of both metal and chitin, of earth glass and Zaltari bone. They called it Unity Hall. Inside, human scientists and alien scholars worked together. They studied history, science, even language. Most people thought this day would never come, but it had, because one soldier chose to remove his armor and speak instead of shoot that man. Sergeant Elias Brandt now stood at the edge of the garden, watching the sunrise. Beside him stood the queen. She had changed in the past year. Her once sharp wings were shorter now. Her movements were gentler. She wore a special cloak made of solar silk woven by both alien hands and human tech. She was still tall, powerful, and strange, but she was no longer feared. She was respected. You're quiet today, the queen said, her voice soft inside Elias's mind. I was thinking, Elias replied, about how far we've come. She turned her silver eyes toward him. How far we still must go. He smiled. Yeah, that too. Down in the town center, Corporal Wren Voss walked through the market stalls. She laughed as she watched a group of human children play tag with young Zaltari crawlers. A year ago, this would have been impossible. Now it felt almost normal. She stopped at a food cart run by a Zaltari vendor and picked up a strange glowing fruit. You ever gonna tell me what's in this thing? She asked. The vendor clicked and buzzed cheerfully. Protein light and dream seed? Wren shook her head, grinning. Still no idea what that means. Nearby, humans and aliens traded goods, ideas, and stories. Peace was growing, even if it still felt fragile. Suddenly, a holographic alert appeared above the plaza. Emergency transmission. All personnel to Unity Hall. Wren's smile faded. She dropped the fruit and ran inside Unity Hall. Elias stood in the main chamber. The queen was beside him, calm but alert. Wren entered just as the lights dimmed and a hologram appeared in the air. A man's face appeared, General Rourke. Head of Earth's Defense Fleet, Elias, he said quickly. We have a problem. A deep space colony near Sigma 9 has gone silent. No communication, no distress signal, just nothing. Elias frowned. Could it be a storm? No, Rourke said. The last message was strange. It mentioned... He hesitated. It mentioned creatures. Not Zaltari. Something older. Something worse. The Queen stepped forward. "Show me." Rourke looked surprised, but nodded. The screen flashed to static, then to the last transmission. A human face bloodied, scared. "They're not like the Zaltari, They don't think. They just consume." "We tried to." The message ended in a scream. Elias clenched his jaw. Ren whispered, "What the hell was that?" The Queen turned to them. "I know this enemy. We called them the Voidborn. They come from dark space. They leave no survivors." Rourke's voice returned. "We're sending ships, but we need help. If the Zaltari are truly Elise, now is the time to prove it." Elias looked at the Queen. "Will you fight?" She nodded slowly. "For you, and for all who wish to live, yes." Preparations began at once. For the first time in history, a human Zaltari fleet was assembled. Giant human cruisers flew beside living alien ships shaped like manta rays. Inside the ships, soldiers trained side by side. Elias stood before a formation of both human and Zaltari warriors. "I won't lie," said. "This enemy doesn't care about peace or war. It doesn't care about language or emotion. It just wants to destroy." He looked across the ranks. "But we're not the same as we were a year ago. We're stronger together." Cheers rose from both sides when they arrived at Sigma Neen. The colony was gone. No lights, no people, just black dust drifting through space and wreckage. And then they came. The void-born creatures of shadow and bone, shaped like twisted stars. They tore through the fleet like knives through paper. They did not scream. They did not speak. They only killed. Elias's ship shook as he gripped the command rail. "Redirect all weapons. Aim for the core." The Queen's voice echoed in his mind. "We must strike as one, in a moment of unity." Alien mind and human machine moved together. Zaltari drones latched onto the enemy. Human lasers followed. The first Voidborn exploded. Then another and another. But it wasn't enough. More came, thousands. The fleet began to fall. Elias turned to Ren. "If this doesn't work," Ren smirked, "then I'm glad we tried." Suddenly the Queen stood up from her. "Thrown aboard her living ship, there is one more thing I can do. But it will cost me everything." Elias turned sharply. "Do you mean?" "The hive mind was born from ancient power. If I give myself to it fully, I can tear a hole in the dark. But I will not return." "No." Elias stepped toward her. "There has to be another way." She reached out and touched his face gently. "You showed me a better way. Let me protect it." Elias's eyes burned. "You're not a monster anymore." "No," she whispered. "I became something else. Because of you." And with that, the Queen spread her wings one last time. She flew her ship into the heart of the Voidborn swarm. She lit up the sky like a star going Nova. And then she was gone. When the battle was over, silence returned to space. The enemy was destroyed, but the cost was great. Elias sat in the wreckage of the command deck, staring at the stars. Ren placed a hand on his shoulder. "She saved us all," she said softly. Elias didn't speak for a long time. Then finally she chose it. She chose to protect life. It makes her more human than most. Back on Curran Prime, a statue was built in the Hive Garden, a tall figure, with wings spread, looking up at the sky. Below it, words carved in both human letters and alien script. Here stood one who was born to destroy, but chose instead to understand. Peace is not given, it is made, together. And every year after, on the day of her sacrifice, humans and Zaltari gathered beneath the twin suns to remember the Queen, who cried when a soldier removed his armor, and became more than anyone thought possible. The end.